So I don't know if the audio is good or not. I've tried this so many times now. I might have to just do without for a bit.
Yeah, we're not doing this. And that's okay because one of the things that has continuously barred me from properly making something out of this channel is, this need for perfection or this need to be ready. That's just never going to happen. It's generally going to be best for me to just do it anyway. I can't tell you how many times I've tried and failed at this, and yet I continue to keep getting this call to do it. The fears are always coming up for sure. The fear of being seen and being heard, um, in particular, which is funny because, it's very much, it's such an interesting thing, the fear of being seen, because it is tied up with the very natural human need to be seen. And so there's a conflict constantly of like, I want to be seen, but I also don't want to look like some sort of, attention hungry person who, we tend to judge when we see somebody out in the park filming themselves doing a TikTok or whatever. Any content creators, many of them, they can get subjected to judgment because they are filming themselves, and it's always like, oh, you want attention. And you know I'm kind of over that, you know tendency to judge people for that sort of thing. Like I've had to come to that acceptance of what other people are like in order to also be kinder to myself about what I feel is calling me, and that is to put myself out there more. That is to create scenarios where I can be seen too and heard too. And why? Because I have this, wound inside me from my childhood that has made me want to be seen and heard and validated. And it's manifested itself in the ways that it usually does in my adulthood, and I'm kind of over it. I'm kind of done with these patterns, and I'm looking for ways to heal that, and to improve the relationship I have with myself. And so this is why I'm back again. It's not just about me kind of finding myself and sort of rebuilding my relationship, but also, there must be an additional reason why this is continuously persisting in my mind to do. And I think that it will definitely be healing for me, whether or not anybody even sees this stuff. It's not really about that. This is pretty much an act of self-love for me, because the way I see it is by taking the time out to document the things that I'm doing, documenting my uh, thoughts on things, anything at all, really, documenting myself. And making the effort to then also edit the videos and do all the things to it and putting it out there, whether or not people see it. For me, it's kind of like I'm saying to myself that I am worth the effort of doing all of that. I'm worth the time of doing all of that. And that, what I do in my regular day to day life, even big or small tasks or objectives, whatever, is valuable. It's like me telling myself that, there's something valuable about what I'm doing and who I am. And I am honoring that by documenting it and keeping it for posterity. It's I think that it's kind of a nice way to think about it, instead of some sort of selfish or self-obsessed or like narcissistic reason. It's not really like that, because it's something that I was always afraid of, but also having to come to terms with the fact that it's coming from a need that I have never had really met properly. And so I am really just trying to embark on this journey to be more connected to myself, just seeing where this goes, right? So I do have to give a lot of credit, and of course, as always is the case, these channels, the videos in particular, they come up on your feed, right at the perfect time, always. And Ayanda Stood is one of the best channels. That channel, they came up again right at the perfect time, because I didn't really fully I didn't fully realize that what I was dealing with was essentially called like the fear of being seen, the fear of being visible, and then the to the conflicting circumstances around it, that it's something that you need, but it's also something that you're afraid of. And that's the case for a lot of things. It's the stuff that you're usually afraid of doing, the stuff that you're afraid of. It's usually the thing that you need the most, that your soul is asking for the most. But when you continue to let the fear take over and you deny it, or you ignore it, or you run away from it, you get more and more further away from your authentic self and from your joy, and then you feel worse, and somehow you start feeling lost because you haven't made that connection yet. You haven't realized, like, oh, I was actually, if I had chosen courage at that particular moment, things could have been different, because we're very scared, and fear is quite the motivator. Again, from attempting this so many times and also giving into my fear so many times in my life, I'm choosing to go in another direction and choosing something different. In fact, my word of the year, actually, I picked 2 words of the year because overachiever over here, but one of them is courage. And when you do that, I like that over like New Year's resolutions. And I can talk about that at some other point, but courage is one and patience is another. Whenever there's an opportunity for me to exercise courage as opposed to fear, patience versus impatience, I get to make that conscious choice, since that's my chosen theme of the year, to take the action that reflects that instead, and embody that more, truly become a more courageous person, truly become a more patient person by the end of the year. And boy, ever since I've made that commitment, it's been like quite the growth just in the couple of months into the year that it's been. So what I wanted to talk about briefly is my intention for this channel. Short term, this is probably just going to be me for a little bit, talking about the things that matter to me, sharing my opinions on things, and documenting my life and sharing whatever interesting stuff happens. And I know that right now I'm kind of like very nervous, understandably, and also obviously, but hopefully being able to work through that a little bit and be more comfortable, and then kind of feel more closer to my authentic self, because I can definitely say that when I'm not in front of a camera, I think I'm much more charismatic and much more funny, and so I'm hoping to be more comfortable on camera with enough practice and with enough dedication to this. But in the long term, I like to be able to bring people to the channel and do some fun stuff, and hopefully be as entertaining as we are insightful, and hopefully helpful and inspiring as well. I'd like to be able to give to society or the world in my own small, humble way. I just don't know what that is yet, right? So we're just going to kind of feel things out. One of the other barriers that kind of stopped me from continuing to develop my YouTube channel was sort of, how do I even make the content? How can I make this as, comfortable for me as possible? And I know that I have in the past just tried to look at different strategies, writing a script or an outline so that I have some sort of structure to the video. And I found that even when I did that, that seemed like, first of all, extra work. I don't know if it's laziness, but it seemed like extra work. And then in addition, I felt like I was very stiff. I'm already pretty stiff because I'm uncomfortable, right? But to have then a script or an outline and just really focusing on that and trying to stick to that doesn't seem to really work for me. I do think, though, that I have a nice flow, a nice train of thought that comes in when I allow myself to just kind of sit and focus. And I think that works better for me, and it will make editing a little bit easier. And so I'm trying to make this as, I'm trying to lower the barrier as much as possible. Do I expect perfection in any of this? Of course not. I think the more practice that I do, the better. Hopefully I'm not speaking too fast, and I certainly hope that my audio continues to improve. I do want to get a microphone at some point, but for now I think this is going to have to work for the time being. Hopefully it can help some people maybe feel comfortable. Whoever gets to see this. Again, this is essentially starting off as just me kind of doing this for my own self and for my own healing, and I'm just being public about it, and I'm wanting to, potentially just anybody else who kind of feels similar to where, to myself, we're trying to rediscover ourselves and try to face our fears and everything. I'm hoping that if it reaches anybody who's like that maybe they can feel inspired to try to do the same, or encouraged in some sort of way. But again, I don't really go into this with too many expectations. All I know is I just want to do this for myself, and we'll just see where it goes. But I would like the potential. I would like to eventually, maybe, as of now, my long-term objective, if I can really commit to this, is to create like a platform for creatives and artists, and especially multi-passionate people, which tend to be creative normally, to come together and like really just have fun and really like share ourselves as people, not just as creatives, you know, so that people know like they're artists, right? They know the artists out there. And I definitely want to explore different media and be able to do some fun games, some fun activities and stuff like that too. Just like a nice variety of things. And again, hopefully we can get it somewhere around entertainment, but also insight and like, you know, knowledge, and just something that can provide, you know, more than just entertainment. So again, don't know what that's going to look like, but I'm happy to be back. I'm really going to try to make this as consistent as possible. So yeah, crossing my fingers, and I'll just leave it at that.